Welcome to Broken Bayonets channel, where imagination was a weapon and every detail was a deliberate lie. You stand in a sun-drenched field in Normandy. The year is 1944. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and distant cordite. Overhead, the sky is a vast, indifferent blue, but on the ground, a great and terrifying illusion is taking shape. A division is marching, you think. The sound of their boots, the rumble of their tanks, the crackle of their radios. It all feels so real. Yet, as you squint into the haze, the forms are not what they seem. They are made of rubber, painted canvas, and the audacious imagination of a few hundred artists, actors, and engineers. This is not the march of a great army, but the stagecraft of a secret unit that would come to be known as the Ghost Army. A few miles away, General Patton's Third Army is moving stealthily, readying for a breakthrough. But their real-world advance is being covered by this phantom, a shadow force designed to draw German attention and firepower. Do you ever wonder if the past is truly past, or if these echoes of cunning and deception still resonate in the modern world? So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you find the shared content useful to you. Tell me, which ancient ruin do you dream of visiting, and what historical topic fascinates you most? Now, let's journey back in time and walk in the footsteps of legends. The story begins with a simple question. How do you hide an army in plain sight? Or more accurately, how do you make one appear where it doesn't exist? The answer lay in the meticulous and artful creation of a ghost division, the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops. It was a unit unlike any other, a bizarre fusion of military necessity and Hollywood theatrics. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to become part of this grand illusion. You are not a hardened infantryman or a tank gunner. Instead, you're an artist, a stagehand, a sound technician, all with one goal: to trick the enemy into believing a full-strength armored division is right there, when in reality, the closest thing to a tank is a 7-ton inflatable balloon. The concept, while novel in its execution, was rooted in a timeless principle of warfare: psychological manipulation. Not exactly a deep-fake video, but the Ghost Army's radio mimicry had a terrifyingly similar effect on intelligence gathering. You find yourself under the command of Colonel Harry L. Reeder, a man with a military mind and a flair for the dramatic. He sees the battlefield not as a place of brutal combat, but as a stage, and you are one of his principal actors. The details matter, every stitch of canvas, every fabricated insignia. This is not about a quick, clumsy bluff. This is about convincing the enemy's most seasoned intelligence officers and reconnaissance pilots that they are facing a real threat, a phantom menace that can shift and morph with the wind. The challenge is immense. You need to create not just the look of a division, but its very soul. That means faking its movements, its radio chatter, its physical presence, everything. You're part of the team responsible for creating the inflatable tanks. They're a wonder of engineering, these hulking, rubberized shapes that, from a distance, look exactly like a Sherman tank. You help inflate one, and it feels like blowing up a giant beach ball, a bizarre, almost comical act in the middle of a war zone. But you know that from a reconnaissance plane flying thousands of feet up, it's a terrifying, steel-plated beast. This is the first layer of the deception, the physical manifestation of a lie. The average IQ of a Ghost Army soldier was 119, a full 10 points higher than the rest of the army. A necessary qualification for a job that required creativity, improvisation, and a keen eye for detail. You're surrounded by people who were once commercial artists, architects and designers, now applying their trade to the deadly serious business of war. The entire operation is a study in controlled chaos, a beautifully orchestrated symphony of lies. The goal is to make the enemy feel your presence, to draw their attention away from the real action. You are the bait, the lure, the grand distraction. Just like a magician's misdirection, you are making them look left while the real threat is advancing on the right. This single-minded focus on illusion over brute force is what sets the Ghost Army apart. Historians still debate the full extent of the Ghost Army's impact on specific engagements. Was it a game changer or a clever but ultimately minor sideshow? The answer is likely somewhere in the middle, a testament to the fact that even the most meticulous deceptions can be swallowed up by the fog of war. But you know the feeling of a job well done. You've seen the look on a commanding officer's face when they realize a few rubber tanks and a bit of radio noise saved their men from a brutal ambush. You're not fighting with bullets, you're fighting with imagination. And in this theater of war, that can be a far more powerful weapon. You help deflate one of the tanks, its rubber skins sighing as the air rushes out, leaving a limp, deflated husk. But the physical illusion is only one part of the deception. Now, you move into the woods where the real work begins. The woods, you discover, are a stage in themselves, a natural amphitheater where the sounds of war are meticulously created.
Copy that.
This is the realm of the auditory battlefield, where the Ghost Army truly comes alive. You carry a piece of equipment that looks like a large, unwieldy reel-to-reel player, a precursor to the modern soundboards and digital audio workstations.
Setting up the tripod.
But this device is no ordinary player. It is an instrument of deception. It contains recordings of real combat sounds, the grinding of tank treads on gravel, the roar of a Sherman's engine, the shouted commands of an officer, the distant crackle of small arms fire. Your job is to play these sounds at precisely the right volume and at the correct time, creating an aural landscape that convinces any German listening post that a real division is on the move. You learn the art of sonic orchestration. The recordings are not simply played on a loop, you have to understand the ebb and flow of a real march. A tank column doesn't roar constantly, it stops and starts. The roar of its engine fades and returns. A Jeep's engine sounds different from a half-track. These are the subtleties that make the illusion believable. You watch as a fellow soldier, a former radio actor, mimics a dispatcher's voice, his tone weary and strained, as if he's been at this for days. He's not just faking the words, he's faking the entire experience of being on the front lines. The entire operation is a masterclass in psychological warfare. It's about planting a seed of doubt, of fear, in the mind of the enemy. General Patton himself was a proponent of this kind of psychological attack, understanding that the greatest weapon is often the one that breaks the enemy's will to fight before a single shot is fired. The sound you create is a lie, a beautiful, terrifying falsehood. A little-known fact about this sonic deception is the sheer power required to project these sounds convincingly across miles of open terrain. The sound equipment used by the Ghost Army was incredibly heavy and cumbersome, often requiring multiple soldiers to transport and set up. The speakers, modified from commercial public address systems, were so powerful they could be heard from over 15 miles away. You find yourself hauling these monstrous speakers through muddy fields, the weight of the equipment a constant reminder of the physical effort behind this delicate art. The sonic illusion is a terrifyingly effective tool. A German patrol, hearing the unmistakable grind of a tank column, would halt their advance, relaying the position of the division back to their commanders. The German intelligence would then scramble, rerouting their own forces, believing they had found Patton's flank. You see the effect firsthand one night, when a German reconnaissance team is seen scouting the edge of the woods, their flashlights blinking nervously. They are completely fooled. Your division is a mile deep in the forest, a phantom force born of rubber, canvas, and sound. It's not exactly a real battle, but the stakes are just as high. A misplaced sound, a speaker that cuts out, could mean the difference between life and death for the real soldiers advancing on the true front. Historians still debate whether these sonic illusions alone were enough to deceive the enemy. Was the visual deception more critical, or the radio chatter? The truth is, it was the combination. A perfectly synchronized tactical trinity of sight, sound, and signal. But on a dark night in the middle of a French field, all you have is the sound. You listen to the recordings and you hear the symphony of war. It's a surreal experience, creating this soundscape of battle while the real war rages elsewhere. You feel a strange sense of detachment, as if you are a god shaping a world with sound alone. And yet, the responsibility weighs heavily. You are a ghost, a shadow, but your actions have a very real impact. You listen to the sounds of men and machines that aren't there, and for a moment, you almost believe in the illusion yourself. The air is cold, but the work warms you. You smile faintly at the absurdity of it all. Who would have thought that a war could be won with a record player? The sun rises, casting long, distorted shadows of the rubber tanks across the dew-covered fields. You've orchestrated the sounds of an advancing division, but now it's time to complete the illusion with the eye. This is the realm of the visual deception, where you and your fellow artists become masters of misdirection on a monumental scale. You're not just faking a tank, you're faking a whole command post, a motor pool, and the general clutter that comes with a real division on the move. Your tools are simple: paint, canvas, wood, and an audacious imagination. You help set up a series of fake command tents. They're just frames of wood covered in camouflage netting, but from the air, they look like the nerve center of a powerful armored unit. You're painting fake tire tracks on the roads, making it look like heavy vehicles have been passing through all night. You are creating the evidence of a lie. The detail is meticulous, almost obsessive. The Ghost Army even had fake insignia patches. You help sew one onto a jacket, the symbol for a non-existent armored division. And you think about the poor German intelligence officer who will stare at a captured soldier's uniform and believe he has a bead on the 600th Armored Division, a unit that exists only in your imagination. You work alongside men who were once famous painters and sculptors, now applying their art to the battlefield. The Ghost Army was a magnet for these creative types. They were the masters of illusion, the grand illusionists. A surprising fact, often lost in the broader narrative of the war, is just how much effort went into recreating the mundane details of a military camp. They didn't just fake the big stuff like tanks, they faked the small things too. You see a fellow soldier meticulously arranging empty food cans and cigarette butts around a fake campfire, making it look like a group of tired soldiers had just left. This level of granular, almost theatrical realism is what made the deceptions so effective.
Tout est en ordre.
They created a believable world, not just a collection of props. They understood that the most convincing lie is the one built on a foundation of seemingly insignificant truths. This is what separated the Ghost Army's work from a simple, one-off bluff. The challenge, you find, is not just creating the props, but staging them correctly. A real tank formation doesn't just sit in a neat line. It's spread out, seeking cover, following the contours of the land. So you and your team learn to think like military strategists, not just artists. You arrange the inflatable tanks and rubber jeeps in a pattern that looks organic and tactical,
And then,
making sure they're partially hidden by trees or hills. You're a director staging a play, and the stage is the open French countryside. You're constantly moving, deflating and inflating, repositioning. It's a logistical ballet of immense scale and secrecy. But even with all the meticulous planning, there are moments of tension, moments where the illusion feels fragile. The great historical mystery of the Ghost Army's visual deception lies in its unquantifiable success. How many German pilots flew over their staging grounds and reported back to headquarters that a massive force was indeed there? How many German units were diverted, their resources wasted, because they believed in the spectacle you created? There's no way to put a number on it. The success is measured in what didn't happen, in the attacks that never materialized, in the lives that were never lost. You see a German reconnaissance plane flying high overhead, a silver speck in the vast blue sky. You freeze, a half-inflated tank swaying in your hands. You hold your breath, a bizarre stillness washing over you. You are a puppet master, and the plane above is the puppet. You hope your work is good enough. You can't help but smile faintly at the sheer audacity of it all. You are fighting a war with rubber and paint. You're not a soldier in the traditional sense, but in this strange, beautiful lie, you are a master of war. You put your head down and get back to work, adjusting a canvas strap on an inflatable truck, a small detail in a massive, beautiful fiction. You are an artist, and your masterpiece is not on a canvas, but on the sprawling, muddy canvas of the European theater of operations. The illusion of sight and sound is complete, but what gives a division its living, breathing soul is the human element. The Ghost Army was a collection of unique personalities, a strange and remarkable cross-section of American talent. You are surrounded by them. These men who were once painters, set designers, sound engineers, architects, and actors. Their diversity is not a flaw, but a crucial asset. A surprising fact is that many of these soldiers had no prior military experience, or at best, only basic training. They weren't trained to fight, they were trained to deceive. The 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, the official designation of the Ghost Army, was not a fighting unit. It was a unit of creative and tactical geniuses. You see a man who was once a renowned architect now drawing up plans for a fake barracks. His blueprints are as precise and detailed as any real building, down to the placement of the fake latrines. You hear another man, a former radio announcer, mimicking the weary banter of a company sergeant over a field telephone. He's not just faking the words, he's faking the cadence and the subtle exhaustion in a soldier's voice. This is the heart of the Ghost Army, a human lie machine. You yourself have a role to play. Maybe you were a stage actor before the war, and now you're learning how to walk like a tired infantryman. You find yourself studying the way real soldiers carry themselves, the way they light a cigarette, the way they stand guard. Every gesture, every posture is part of the performance. The mission is to be the most convincing soldier you can be, while also being a ghost. This strange duality is what makes the experience so surreal. You're on a battlefield, but you're not fighting. You're performing.
Tout est en
and
ordre.
the audience is the German Wehrmacht. It's a terrifyingly high-stakes performance, a piece of theater where the reviews are written in enemy intelligence reports. The Ghost Army was led by men who saw the value in this unique skill set. A key figure was Colonel Harry L. Reeder, a no-nonsense soldier with a clear vision. He understood that this kind of work required more than just military discipline. It required intelligence, adaptability, and a willingness to improvise. He fostered a culture of creativity and camaraderie, where a former Broadway actor and a high school art teacher could collaborate on a mission to trick an entire German army.
Then, just like that,
There is a point of
the
historical
bear
debate
turned
surrounding the human
and
element
ran
of the Ghost
away.
Army. Was the high concentration of creative professionals a result of strategic planning, or was it a happy accident of wartime enlistment and assignment? While the unit was specifically created for deception, the sheer talent and high IQ of its members seem almost too good to be true. Was it a lucky draw, or was there an unrecorded effort to recruit these specific individuals from the vast pool of draftees? We may never know the full story, but the result was a unit that could think on its feet, a unit that could solve problems with ingenuity rather than brute force. One evening, you are told a story about a time when an inflatable tank was damaged and a former artist, without a second thought, patched the hole with a piece of his own canvas and some paint, making the repair look like an intentional part of the vehicle's camouflage. It's this kind of quick thinking and resourcefulness that made the Ghost Army so effective. They were not just a collection of props and sounds. They were a living, breathing organism of deception. You feel a sense of camaraderie with these men. You now move into the world of invisible warfare, the part of the deception that can't be seen with the naked eye. This is the realm of radio and signal deception, the nervous system of your Phantom Division. You find yourself in a hidden van, a small mobile command post with a large humming radio set in front of you. Your mission is to listen to the real communications of other units, to absorb their patterns, their codes, their unique rhythms, and then to replicate them. This is the art of mimicry at its most dangerous and precise. You and your fellow operators are not just sending out fake messages. You're creating a completely believable radio network, a ghost in the machine. A key historical figure in this domain was Captain George G. Hauser, who led the signal company of the Ghost Army. His team was responsible for creating this auditory illusion of a massive, bustling division. They understood that every army unit has its own communication habits, its own radio traffic density. An infantry division's radio chatter sounds different from an armored division's. Your team had to learn to fake it all, from the terse commands of a tank commander to the mundane logistical requests of a supply sergeant. The radio signals themselves had to be a perfect forgery. You and your team are listening for the fist, the unique rhythm of a Morse code operator's hand. Every operator has their own style, their own pace, their own way of sending dots and dashes. You had to find a way to replicate the fist of a real operator, or to create a new, believable one from scratch. This is a subtle but incredibly important part of the deception. It was a surprising fact that many German intelligence units could identify a specific unit just by the rhythm of its radio operators. A clumsy or inconsistent fist could give away the entire deception. So you practice, sending out fake messages with a false rhythm, making sure the signal feels authentic, feels human. It's a surreal experience, sitting in the quiet of a camouflaged van, sending out a lie that could save thousands of lives. This is a silent war, a war of information and misdirection. There is a point of historical debate regarding the effectiveness of the Ghost Army's radio deception. While it's clear they successfully created a massive amount of fake radio traffic, historians still question how much of this traffic was intercepted and acted upon by German intelligence. The German command structure was not always receptive to new information, and they were often slow to react to what they believed were diversions. Did the Germans believe the Ghost Army was a real division? Or did they suspect a ruse, but were forced to react anyway, just in case? The truth is likely somewhere in the middle. The sheer volume of fake radio traffic was a weapon in itself, a kind of electronic fog that made it harder for the enemy to find the real target. It was a masterful use of information overload. You tap out a message on the telegraph key, a series of short, sharp clicks. The message is completely fabricated, a lie about troop movements and supply needs.
Hier ist der Bericht.
You do it with a slight stutter, a subtle hesitation in the middle of a word, just like the real operator you've been studying. It's the little details that sell the big lie.
Follow the river.
This is not exactly a deep fake video, but the Ghost Army's radio mimicry had a terrifyingly similar effect on intelligence gathering. It's a chilling realization that you are not just faking an army, you are faking the minds and intentions of the people in that army. You are a ghost, whispering in the enemy's ear, making them see what you want them to see, hear what you want them to hear. And in this silent, unseen battlefield, you are winning the war. You smile faintly, a ghost's grin. This is a war of the mind, and you are a master of its darkest arts. The war moves on, and with it, the Ghost Army's mission changes. You've created illusions in France, and now you are called upon for a final, crucial performance. Operation Viersen. It is the final act, a large-scale deception designed to support a major river crossing of the Rhine. You are not just faking a division now, you are faking an entire army. The psychological toll of living a lie, of constantly being a shadow, begins to weigh on you. The Ghost Army's impact, you realize, was not just on the Germans, but on its own members. You've lived in the shadows, constantly in fear of discovery. You are a ghost, and the isolation that comes with that identity is profound. The unit's very success was its biggest curse. It was so secret that no one could talk about it. Even after the war, the Ghost Army's existence remained classified for over 40 years.
This is clearly
an untold
a tank.
story,
You
a
can
silent
see the
victory.
treads.
There is a powerful and enduring
But the
mystery surrounding the
resolution was
Ghost
so
Army's
poor.
legacy. We know
It
what
could
they
be
did,
anything.
but we don't truly know the full scope of their success. Did their deceptions save hundreds of lives, or thousands? Was their work a tactical sideshow or a strategic game-changer? A surprising fact is that the Ghost Army was credited with saving an estimated 15,000 to 30,000 lives by diverting enemy attention away from real troop movements. Yet, this figure is a retrospective estimate, not a proven fact. Historians debate its accuracy, and the truth, like the Ghost Army itself, remains shrouded in the fog of war. The very nature of deception makes it difficult to quantify. You can't put a number on a lie. General Patton's Third Army was able to make its breakthroughs precisely because German intelligence was too busy chasing phantoms. You are moving for the last time. The inflatable tanks are deflated, the fake radio sets are packed away, and the camouflage netting is folded up. You look at the German prisoner you helped trick, and you see the confusion in his eyes. He thought he was facing a full-strength armored division. The expression on his face is a testament to your work. You feel a strange mix of pride and a profound sense of exhaustion. The war is ending, but the echoes of your lies will resonate for decades to come. You are part of a key historical event, the first of its kind, and a template for future psychological warfare. You are a ghost, a member of the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, a name that will go on to become a legend. The story of the Ghost Army is a story of a silent victory, a testament to the power of human ingenuity and imagination. It's a story that asks us to reconsider what bravery means on a battlefield. It's not just about facing the enemy head-on, it's also about outsmarting them, about winning the war without firing a single shot. This is a quiet, profound form of heroism, one that is often overlooked in the grander, more spectacular narratives of military history. And you were there. The war is finally over, and you find yourself in a quiet field, the air no longer smelling of cordite and deception, but of damp earth and coming rain. The mission is complete. You walk away, a ghost returning to the world of men. The story is over, but its lessons endure, a testament to the idea that in war, as in life, the most powerful weapon of all might just be a story well told. You are now standing in a quiet, forgotten corner of a field in Normandy, long after the war's final notes have faded to a whisper. The grass is tall, the breeze gentle, and the sun sets in a glorious cascade of orange and purple. The ghosts of the rubber tanks and the phantom radio signals have long since dispersed into the air. The hushed awe you once felt for the grand illusion now gives way to a quiet reflection on the men who created it. You think of the artists who painted lies, the engineers who inflated them, and the radio operators who whispered them across the airwaves. Their story is a reminder that some of the most